everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. In today's video, I'm going to be creating a French Chateau Style Panel. For my project today, I'm going to be using this frame that I thrifted for just a couple of dollars. My first step is to remove the inside, the glass, the backing from the frame itself. So I'm just going to pull back the little tabs around the frame and then push that through. I'm not going to be using the glass or the framed border that's come with this frame. I am, however, going to be using the backing. So I'm going to set the other pieces that I don't need off to one side, and I'm going to clean off the backing that I'm going to be using. I'm then going to begin with the frame. I'm going to be using Redesign's Corner Charm Mould. This is from a release that they did earlier this year, and I haven't used this one yet, so I'm very excited to give this one a try. As you can see, it's got lots of beautiful intricate swirls and scrolls. This is definitely going to be great for our project. I'm then going to take out my cornstarch and I'm going to start applying that just with a little paintbrush there, a dry brush, and I'm going to really work it into the details. As I said, this is a very intricate mold, so it is going to need a little bit of extra help to make sure that I can get that clay out, and I am going to be using Das air dry clay today. If you prefer to use resin, you could definitely use resin for this project. It would probably take a little bit of resin to use, and I personally prefer to use clay. It's just a bit more cost effective. I'm then going to start working some clay into the corner charm design there, and I'm really sort of pushing it with my fingers and then also pulling out and pushing out that excess clay. I am just being very gentle. If I push out too much clay in one area, that's okay. I can go back and I can put some more in that section, and I'm just tidying up the edges here. You could also use a plastic card to do this. You could run that along the back of the mold to get a cleaner finish. Once I am happy with how that's filled, I'm going to start flexing the mold. This is going to help it to release. And then I'm going to be flipping it over, and gravity is going to help me get this out. So I'm going to really bend that mold back. And also you may see at times I use my finger to sort of help that clay out if there's any areas that are having trouble. And I also change direction and just really bending that mold back and taking my time. I did end up having a little piece that broke away, but that's fine. That's the beauty of working with clay, is you can just glue that back into position. So this is going to be the corner piece here on the left. So I'm going to put that into position. As you can see, these are quite fragile, so I was definitely trying to be gentle as I was moving it. And then I'm going to be casting another one. There is obviously the opposite or mirror image of this corner charm, so that's going to go on the opposite corner. I'm not going to make you watch me cast all of these. I ended up casting obviously 2 of each of the corner charm molds to go in each of the corners of the frame. Once I finish casting all of the corner pieces and have them in position, I'm going to roll out a little bit more clay and push it into the center design that's in the middle of the corner charm mold. And I'm just using my fingers to push out that excess clay. Once I'm happy with that, just like before, I'm going to start bending and flexing that mold to help the clay release from the sides. And then I will also flip this one over and curl that mold back to help it release. I ended up casting 2 of these designs for each of the sides, so 4 total. Next, I'm going to be using Redesign's Parisien Charm Mold, and I'm going to be working the cornstarch in to begin with. Again, this has some beautiful intricate designs. This is from the same release as well, actually. I'm really sort of flattening out the clay that I'm going to be using before I start putting it in, and then I'm going to start working it into the mold. Again, just following those same steps, spreading that clay out, pulling out that excess. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to flex that mold, and just like before, I'm going to flip it over and curl my mold back. This particular casting is going to be the centerpiece of our panel design today. I'm then going to be using Redesign's Salon Des Glaces mold, and I'm just going to dust part of the design up the top there. I'm going to do a partial casting because I don't want that whole design. So I'm going to roll out some clay, and then I'm going to start pushing it into that mold there. And as I said before, we're doing a partial casting, so I'm just sort of working my way around in sections, making sure that I'm just casting the particular section that I'm after. Obviously, you could do a whole casting if you wanted, and then you could trim it to the size that you want. This is just the way that I like to go about it. Once I am happy with how much clay I have in there, I'm going to start flexing that mold, and I'm going to then flip it over. So hopefully this is a good example of how you can use your molds in different ways. You don't have to use them as they are. You can take bits and pieces of them, and then you can create something really unique. I'm actually going to be making 2 of this particular casting, and I did begin by laying the casting like that underneath our centerpiece, but you will see a little bit later that I end up changing the way that I have it arranged. And that's one of the main reasons why I tend not to glue everything down until I am happy with everything on my project. Here I'm just sort of removing some of the excess clay that I don't want. I'm using my fingers and also a palette knife to remove that excess clay. I'm going to do another partial casting just like the one we did before. And it was at this point, once I had my casting ready to go and I had it positioned, that I did decide to change the arrangement. So I preferred it this way. I liked the way that the curves were shaped and how it framed out that centerpiece a bit more. So I've flipped over the one that we did to begin with. I have got a couple of breakages there, but that's fine. I can just glue them back down. I'm just going to have a play until I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to start using my Sealy's Quickset wood glue. Now I'm going to apply that glue directly to the frame surface. These are very delicate. As you can see, I've already had a couple of breakages, so doing it this way is going to make sure that I have it all stuck down, but also that I don't damage my castings any further. So I'm just going to continue to work my way around and glue those in place. Here you can see that the casting does drape over the inside part of the frame, and it does drape down. So I'm just going to gently press those pieces down into the glue. They will be absolutely fine. They've still got the support of the center part of the frame. I then continue to glue everything in place. If I get too much glue in one area, I just use a wet wipe to tidy it up. I let my castings dry overnight, and the next day I came in with Paint Couture's Queen's Court mineral paint. I'm going to be adding this beautiful light blue over my entire project, and I'm applying the paint using a chip brush. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One is that the bristles are very soft and a bit longer, and they're able to really get into all of the details and the crevices of these molds. But also I'm going to be able to create some texture and make this less of a sort of flat piece. It'll give it some interest. So I'm going to continue to work my way around, adding that beautiful paint, doing the dabbing and stippling motion to create that texture and interest. And I'm also going to be making sure that I'm getting it into most of the details. If I have any areas that I've missed, I'm not going to be too worried. I'm just going to do one coat of this color. And this paint has a built-in top coat, which is going to be very handy. So I'm going to apply it to the entire front section and also to the sides. As the title of the video suggests, I'm definitely going for a sort of French chateau look here. If this wasn't to your taste, obviously you could go a little bit more neutral or even a little bit more bright. This is definitely a project that you can customize to suit your style. If I inspire you to try any of the Paint Couture products used in today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would use my affiliate link. I will put it in the description and on the screen. I just get a little thank you from Paint Couture in return. I let the one coat dry completely, and then I took out Paint Couture's Buttercream chalk paint. I'm going to be applying it with a small brush, and I'm really brushing it just over the top sections of those castings, and I'm not going for full coverage. I want it to look like this paint has worn away and faded over time. So I'm just really sort of hitting the tops of it. It's not a dry brush because I'm definitely using more paint than you would in a dry brush, but I'm not going for perfection here. So I'm just going to work my way around and be just sort of adding it to the top sections. I'm not going to go down the sides, just the top areas are going to get this white paint. On the centerpiece, however, I did add a little bit more of the Buttercream chalk paint. This is the center part of it, so I felt like it should have a little bit more lightness to it. I really love the color combination of that Queen's Court with the Buttercream. I think it's a very soft look, which I think is definitely in keeping with that French Chateau look. Once I finished adding it to the center part of our design, I then moved on and started adding it over the outside. And you can definitely see that adding the white is highlighting the beautiful details of those castings. I want to give this piece a little bit more age, so I took out Paint Couture's light brown sugar glaze and I'm applying it over the top of our dry paint. Remember, the Queen's Court mineral paint, the blue, that has a built-in top coat in it, so I'm able to now come in with a mister and I can spread it a lot more easily. I'm going to be able to use a wet wipe to wipe back some of that product. I really want it to subtly tone the paint, give it more of an aged look, but I also want it to sit down in those crevices and definitely give that definition and that aged look. So I'm just going to continue adding it just to the center to start off with. I'm going to work in sections. I've been using my mister to ward it down, and now I'm coming in with a wet wipe. I'm dabbing at it in some areas. I'm wiping it back from some of those high points. There's no real wrong way to do this. It's just whatever look you're going for. I know I might have a couple of people say that they preferred it without the grunge, but I love a vintage look. I think it just gives a piece much more character. It's definitely more my style. Obviously, you could leave this step out if it was too much for you, or maybe you could come in with a whitewash or a white wax to give it some interest, but still keep it light. So I'm going to continue to work my way around the panel, adding the glaze, using that mister to water it down. The mister also helps it move into some of those more difficult areas to reach, so that's definitely helpful. And obviously it's going to make it a bit thinner, so it makes it less intense. So I'm just going to continue working my way around until I have added that glaze over the entire panel, including the sides. I let the glaze dry completely, and then I came in with some of Paint Couture's Bronze Luxe Metallic. Again, I'm going for a French panel style here, and often they have beautiful gilding on the details, so that's what I'm trying to replicate here using the bronze. So I'm just sort of dabbing it on in random areas. I'm not going too heavy, and I want it to look worn away and very old, but I also want to give it just a hint of that shine. Obviously, French chateaus are known for their beautiful moldings and panels, so that was definitely an inspiration for this piece. So I'm just going to continue working my way around and adding that bronze, not going too heavy. I definitely wanted to have a bit more of a subtle look. Paint Couture's bronze definitely has a little bit more of a goldy tone to it. That's why I think I tend to reach for it a lot. But you could definitely use Paint Couture's antique gold if you wanted something a little bit brighter, or gold mine, or you could also use the French gold in their heavy metal metallics. It just depends what look you're after. Here you can see I'm using a wet wipe to pull back some of that bronze. As I said, I don't want it to be too intense. I'm also going to add it a little bit to the center there. And then I'm just going to continue to work my way around the panel, adding it very lightly over the details. And here's a look at our French Chateau Style Panel. really love how this turned out. Those redesign molds are so beautiful and perfect for this kind of project. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button, comment, and share it out. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our videos. You can find most of the products used today on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Thanks for watching.